Hey, beautiful. I am so glad that you're here. Welcome to Inside the Apothecary, a space for real conversations about hormones, fertility, and the body. This is where we learn to understand the body, not fight it. Wherever you are in your cycle, your symptoms, or your fertility journey, you are welcome here. We explore what's really driving your symptoms through a clinical lens, but in a way that feels human, grounded, and supportive. Because your body isn't broken, it's communicating. So take a breath, get comfortable, and let's tune back into you. Welcome to episode number 3, where we're going to talk about all things nervous system and stress. We are going to look at why regulation, feeling safe within your body, and rest are absolutely essential for healing. So we're going to explore, why the nervous system and creating this zone of safety is really important for us to be able to affect change in our patients, yeah? Where do you want to start? Will we talk about fight or flight? Everyone talks about fight or flight.
Everybody does. I think it's just really important to kind of bring it back and to really understand how our nervous system works. All right. So in our central nervous system, we kind of have two different arms. One is the sympathetic nervous system state, which is that fight or flight. And then the other is the parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest. So it's really important to understand we have those two different types. Right. Now, if we go back to caveman days, the sympathetic nervous system, cave person days. Yeah. The whole point of the sympathetic nervous system state was to protect us. So if there's a tiger around and we're freaking out, we can run really quickly, right? We can run. And when that's the case and we are on full alert, you don't want to be worrying about, oh my God, I got to go sleep. Oh my God, I got to eat. You don't want to be focused on those things because right now it's life or death, right? Then the opposite side of that is that parasympathetic, that beautiful rest, and that's where we digest, and that's where we should be in our most chilled state.
We get a nice cave, find some blueberries.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and some honey if we're lucky.
A nice cave person to kill a beast for us.
But the problem is, in today's day and age, there's not really any bears, we're not really any tigers, but so many people are stuck in that sympathetic nervous system state. And their body is still sensing that alert all the time.
So sympathetic is we're freaking out.
Yeah.
Parasympathetic is we are settling down. When we're in sympathetic, all of the blood's going to go to our extremities, right? So that we can go fast, and that pulls it away from the core, which is our gut, our digestion. Digesting food isn't essential for living in the short term. However, it is in the long term. So if you're kind of stuck in that sympathetic state, what do we see? What does that do to our body?
I think this is one of the main reasons why so many women I see in my clinic are bloated, right? Because so many people are just stuck with this fight or flight state all the time. And when you try and eat in that state, right, you're switching off digestion because essentially you're giving your body the message that I am prepared to fight a battle right now, not eat. So when you try and eat, this is where you get a lot of issues and this is where bloating occurs.
Yeah.
So I always say to my clients, if that's the way that you are and you're really busy or really stressed, what I feel like is no one's really paying attention to the digestion of our food these days. It's like an afterthought, right? So what I often say to my clients is before you go to eat, if you're in that fight or flight, you just need to stop, take a couple of deep breaths, and calm your nervous system down, which will switch you over to the calming parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system state.
So that we can then digest the food, get the nutrients out of it, because you could be eating all this beautiful food and not really being able to utilize it to some extent.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to get more out of your food. You're going to be having lots of nutrients. You're going to be feeling great. Energy is going to be improved. And ideally, if that cycle continues and you don't break down the food, being nutrient deficient will drive the flight or fight as well. Because it'd be like, okay, now there's no food. Now there's not only a tiger, we've lost our cave, there's no food available, even though you are eating, and then we see the flow on effects of that hormonal imbalance, poor sleep, really low energy, iron issues, anemia, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Sounds like a
think
messy,
you had a
messy pile.
really absolutely. And you had a really interesting point while we were talking about mums and we were talking about that like 3 p.m. slump. Do you want to just go into that? Because that's really interesting to talk about. And I don't think people are
Yeah.
aware.
So I think our nervous system is like that's kind of it's highly linked to our adrenal system, right? Our adrenals are these two little walnuts. They kind of sit on top of our kidneys and they respond to every single stress that we
Yes.
encounter, whether we like break a nail or whether we have a car accident or something, bigger happens. So if your nervous system is constantly in that hypervigilant state, your adrenal glands will be put under a lot of pressure. What that means is that you may be experiencing like a constant high cortisol, and cortisol is not really made to be high all the time. It's made to be high in the flight or fight for sure. We see that go up, we see you run. Cortisol helps us, adrenaline helps us. Long term, it's going to mess with your other hormones. And what I really commonly see in my moms is they are sleep deprived, they are nutrient deprived, they're super fatigued, and they feel that at like 2-3 o'clock in the arvo. So your cortisol should come up in the morning to wake you up, and then stay pretty stable throughout the day and head down towards the night so that your melatonin, your sleep hormone, can come up and you can sleep. If you are super fatigued in the arvo and you push through, because we have to, we pick up the kids, we cook dinner, we do all of the mum stuff, we get everyone else to sleep, and then mum can't sleep. She's super wired, and it's like a tired and wired, and that's because the cortisol is pumping, because we've said, hey, you can't sleep right now. We need to push through. You get this second wind, and it's all to do with that nervous system dysregulation. And then, we generally, all my moms will be like, it's a great time to clean the house. So I just pump it out. Like I just go to town on the house and then it's done for the morning. But that cycle, it's not going to be great. Long term, that cycle is going to mean really poor sleep for mum. She's not going to get the hours she needs, but the quality is also not going to be there. And then we wake up in the morning, we do it all again. What we might see is that fatigue period in the arvo just gets bigger and bigger, and the sleep time pushes further and further away.
Yeah. So how do they get out of that then? How do we get out of that cycle?
It's difficult. So even just what you said about breathing and, having that time to ourselves, just even before we eat, we need to reset the nervous system. We need to retrain that hormonal response, and we need to let our bodies know that we're safe. Hey, everything's okay. Yes, we're super, super tired, but we can fix that. What we need to do is sort the hormonal stuff out as best we can. As a base, I think a lot of that can come from women being like nutrient depleted postpartum. If we don't have everything we need, then our body is not going to be able to produce all of its sex hormones, all of its stress hormones appropriately. If we are kind of functioning on cortisol, often women will forget to eat as well, because we just go. We feed our kids, we don't feed ourselves. So we commonly see like this picture where there's a lack of sleep, there's a lack of food, there's, we're putting so much pressure on ourselves. Oh, we want to exercise as well. We want to get back, get our bodies back and all that stuff. But one of the cons of all of this, and, I think some women would be very familiar with the fact that when you are like this, you can't shift excess weight, because when your cortisol is high, we keep it on. Protective, again, very protective mechanism, but not ideal in the modern world.
It is such a vicious cycle. And I honestly have lost count at the amount of times I've spoken to mums that eat their food over the sink. Like they shovel it in a second that they've got. And like, I understand that for sure, where you've got to that point. But then so often, the women that come and see us in the clinic, they're at a point where their body has literally broken down and they have
got nothing
left. Absolutely nothing.
You burnt through that fuel like a V8 engine. Like you're going to go through your fuel quicker, functioning at that 100%. Super crazy level.
And what, breaks my heart, right? It honestly breaks my heart is so many of these women, I know you're all amazing mothers and you provide these beautiful meals for your children that are so nutritionally, like you work so hard on it to provide for them. And then you give yourself crumbs or you have the edge of the toast or you have like the scraps.
Yeah.
And what I try and encourage the mothers that I speak to is I just want them to start showing some of that love that they show to their children to themselves.
Yeah.
And start making themselves a priority so that you can start filling up your cup and calming down your nervous system, to then you'll be a much better mother because you've been
Totally.
able to show that love to yourself.
I've been in that fatigue. I have, with having endo, the fatigue can be extreme. And the afternoon slump kind of period, I can't do anything with the kids. There's no quality time there with them. So I know, not only if I sit down and have breakfast with the kids and I eat whatever I've made for them, I'm going to be more efficient at making their lunches, at getting them ready. I've been there as a mum. I've, experienced that severe fatigue. I've had that afternoon slump, especially having endo. That fatigue can hit you at any point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm no good. I'm no good. I'm no fun. I can't do any, the quality time is not there with the kids. So I know if I sit down and eat breakfast with them in the morning, I'm going to be more efficient. I'm going to be able to enjoy my time with them more. I'm going to have a better day. And that's the case, every single day. And I do have to really tell myself, sit down, relax, take a breath, have a good meal. Your day will be better. You'll be a better mom. You'll be a better naturopath, all of those things.
Yeah, the breakfast is a big thing. The amount of times I have that conversation with my clients, with my moms, about the importance of having that breakfast for yourself.
Yeah.
To start your day out right. It's really good for your nervous system to make sure you are actually eating and you're not running on fumes. Like
Yeah.
you
Well, we
need
run on
that
coffee, don't
fuel.
we? You kind
Oh,
of get up,
well, look,
have your coffee.
you can have the coffee, but have some food with it.
Yes,
Like,
totally.
absolutely.
But,
so
getting school clothes, lunches, don't.
yeah,
You're like, wow. So now I do it at night. I do it the night before because I'm a bit better and I get the kids involved. We all sit down to dinner. We turn all the screens off, just little stuff like that makes such a big difference to their nervous system as well. You want to teach them how to do this. It's not just for you.
Yeah, I think the nervous system regulation that you can teach your kids is just so valuable to teach them how to handle their emotions and their mood and how they respond. It's
Yeah,
just such a beautiful skill for them to be able to learn and to nurture as they get older. Going back
definitely.
to the food thing, the other thing I think is really interesting because I've been having this conversation with people recently.
Yeah.
I saw this TikTok the other day and it cracked me up. And this woman was saying, it's so funny. And she was saying, oh, I'm mid-40s and I've lost all this weight, whatever. And these are my tips on how I kept it off. And I was like, oh, yeah. And one thing she said is we all eat too damn fast.
Yeah.
And she was like, so my mental cue when I eat is put down the damn fork. And I love it because
it's good.
I suppose coming back to the mums and the nervous system, so many people, you're in that state and you shovel in food really quickly. You're not even aware you've eaten, not even aware of it. There's no recollection that there was even a meal consumed because we're so distracted, so stressed. Everybody's eating while we're working.
Yes.
And so you're not digesting the food like we said. So I've been saying to myself now as I go to eat, I'm like, put down the damn fork, put down the damn fork. I love it. It is I have to be a bit aggressive to myself with my cues, but oh my God, I'm really responding. So I'm like, put down the damn fork, chew, then pick it up, have another mouthful.
It's not just digestion. What happens when you feed yourself that quick is your body can't respond. And we always talk about stress hormones. We always talk about sex hormones, but we have digestive hormones too. And they can't respond appropriately when it happens that quick because our bodies aren't computers. We're not robots. It's not like a, search on Google, search on ChatGPT response. It is a slow process where your body releases specific ghrelin, leptin, these hormones that say, hey, we're full. Hey, we're satiated. Hey, we've had enough. So sometimes your body doesn't know you've eaten. Sometimes it can spike your insulin because of that response. Sometimes We also will eat too much before we know that we've eaten too much, and then you get the awful feeling of fullness. But like you said, the bloating is a
Absolutely.
big one.
For sure. I just honestly don't think we're digesting the food properly. Like
Mhm.
I saw, do you remember there was a meme that was going around a while ago and it was like my nervous system doesn't like know the difference between fighting a fire and sending an email. Like fighting a battle and like sending an email or fighting
Yep,
a battle and like driving to work. Like because their nervous system is at that level.
yep.
Right. And that's not a good place for where we've gotten to. That
Yeah,
our
totally.
nervous system, for something that really shouldn't be eliciting like a life or death situation, our
Mhm.
nervous system can't tell the difference between those two. And when I heard a lot of conversations around that, I thought, that just makes so much sense. But gosh, that's sad that we've got to that point. Like your goal should be parasympathetic all the time. Like and occasionally pop into the sympathetic,
Yeah. It's
right?
not,
When
like, good
necessary.
and bad, it's just
Mm.
the percentage that we're in each. No,
Totally.
one's not good, one's
Absolutely.
not bad. They both serve their purpose. Like if you're going to do a really big speech, it doesn't even have to be a negative, stressful event. If you're going to do a speech, you want to remember what you're going to talk on, right? So
Yeah.
your nervous system helps you do that with a
Mm.
little bit of anxiety, with a little bit of stress.
Absolutely.
It
Mhm.
helps you stay really focused. So often people will feel a little bit tired after stuff like that. Some people just feel
Mm.
wiped because they've used all those resources. But we cannot
Absolutely.
be like that
All the
constantly.
time.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
not at all.
tired just talking about it.
I know. And talking about tiredness, I think we have to touch on sleep, right? Because
Yes.
this is a really big point as well.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're right. So all the people that say to us, and there's so many of them, right, that say, I am wired of a nighttime,
Yeah.
right? I cannot sleep. My mind is racing. Do
Mhm.
you want to kind of elaborate, Mel, like what's going
Yeah.
on there?
We're creatures that work with our environment.
Mm-hmm.
Humans, we are synced with our environment. So when the sun goes down, our cortisol will go down and our
Mm-hmm.
melatonin will come up, and darkness says, "Hey, sleep hormones, come on, we're going to go to sleep now."
Yeah. It's time.
How often are you in darkness now? Like,
Mm,
how often do you sit in darkness, or are you in darkness prior to literally turning off the light and closing your eyes
mm,
before bed? We're
yeah.
surrounded by electricity. We have this great
Mm-hmm.
electricity. We have screens at our fingertips. We have so many disruptions to this
Mm,
cycle that is a natural thing. When the
mm-hmm.
sun rises, that sunlight in your eyes says, "Hey, melatonin, all good. You can like go have your rest." It's like a shift
Yeah.
worker, right? And
Yeah.
cortisol come in to wake us up, make us feel ready for our day. Not too
Mm-hmm.
much, just enough. And that
Mm-hmm.
balance is part of our circadian rhythm. We actually don't
Yes.
just have one circadian rhythm, we have many in our body. So
Mm,
lots of different clocks, and they all are
mm,
regulated from the sun, from light and dark. So that's a big part of jet lag when you travel because it's all messed up.
mm. Yeah.
So when we are constantly on our screens, when this
Mm-hmm.
cycle is not working properly, the hormonal shifts cannot happen efficiently.
Yeah.
You will have trouble getting to sleep. You will have trouble staying asleep. You will feel terrible, at different parts of the day. And it does feed into other comorbidities with your health.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what
What
I think is
would you
really like
add?
so when you're in that state, right? If you are feeling really stressed before bed, right?
Mm.
If you're already starting to put all the lists together and you're worried about everything you've got to do the next day, and you're in that fight or flight state, like we said, if that cortisol is high before bed, right, you won't sleep because if you were going to fight a battle and your cortisol was high, the whole point is it's going to stop you
You're not going to be
sleeping
able to have a nap.
because you don't want to be like fighting a battle. Oh, sorry, guys, I'm a bit tired. I'm just going to go and have a little nap. No, you want to be able to push through because
Yeah,
someone's coming to get you or you're fighting the battle. But
yeah,
we are not doing that these days. And so this is where, when that cortisol is high, you will struggle to go to sleep and to wind down. So yes, it's the melatonin component, but it's the cortisol. Now, I know everybody wants to talk about cortisol and everybody thinks cortisol is the root of everything. But what I think Mel and I would both agree, it's more your nervous system, right?
Yeah.
We gotta bring it back and talk about the overarching problem is that you're
Mhm.
probably stressed and your nervous system, that's what's going on.
Yep.
That's a dysregulation, not that you particularly have too much cortisol in itself
No,
as
it's
this
not too much.
one lone
Again,
little guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's never like a good and bad thing. Even with the diet, I have this
Mhm.
conversation. It's a balancing act. And a
Yeah.
lot of these hormones are seesaws to each other.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the cortisol and melatonin, they're seesaws. One comes up, the other
Yeah.
goes down. That's how it should work.
Yeah.
Your stress and sex hormones, when stress is up, the sex hormones will be pushed down. We see a lot of fertility issues with really high stress because of that. You go on
Yes.
holidays, a lot of women might, happen to fall pregnant because like their
Mm.
stress comes down. So
Absolutely.
some of the things that like when we talk about all of this in terms of sleep, it's called what we're talking about is like sleep hygiene at its core.
Mhm.
And do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because you've got some great sleep hygiene tips.
Oh, I
And
am all about
it's
it.
not about being
Absolutely.
clean. It's
No,
about the
definitely
routine.
not. Yeah. Firstly, if you are a mother with a child, you know how you have a wind down routine for your child to get them ready for bed?
Mhm.
Sleep hygiene is your wind down routine, right? This is what we're talking about right now. When Mel was talking about the whole issue with melatonin and the blue light situation, right? This is where, when you're seeing that blue light over nighttime, you won't produce that melatonin. So, conversely, what you want to do is you want to reduce the blue light over nighttime. Now, there's quite a few ways that you can do this. I am a big fan because I'm a lifetime insomniac. So, this is my jam. Now, one thing that I've done is I've converted all the lights in my apartment. So I have lamps everywhere that have a blue light blocking lens. So they're either orange or they're red. Now, there's some really good companies that do this stuff. If you guys are interested, there's Baxter Blue and Block Blue Light. They've got some really good options. So, like in my bedroom, I will have a lamp that has a red light globe. So, over nighttime, when we're in the bed, there's a red light and so no blue light. So
Mhm.
I know a lot of people have lamps. So what you want to do is just start creating that soft environment once the sun goes down, right? If you do want to watch like TV and stuff of a night time, I'm a big fan of people
Excuse
actually
me.
getting red tinted glasses to wear. So not like, oh, these glasses have a blue light filter on the lens, but
Mhm.
it's still clear. I actually like the lens to be red themselves. I wear these basically as the sun goes down. So that way I'm not exposed to any blue light whatsoever. The reason why I want to do that is because naturally your body should start producing melatonin from about 9 o'clock. Really, if we were in back in the day, this is how it
Mhm.
should be. So really you want to start wearing those glasses of a night time so that way you're not exposed to that blue light. So lots of softness. We want to really focus on lots of calm. So also I see it a lot. Like you guys want to do work till late at night. You need to have a cutoff time,
Yeah.
right? Where you say, I'm done and now I'm going to spend some time winding myself down. I also have a very strict rule of no phone in the bed.
Mhm.
No. Now, this was a big and really difficult decision for me to make, and because we're all just so addicted. But what I did is I had a transition item, which was my iPad that had no social media. I know it's so funny,
It's
but I was
good.
so
These are
bad.
things that
So
people need tips,
right,
it's
so
good.
my transition item on my iPad. The reason why it was a transition is there was no social media. So the worst I could do was window shop, and that doesn't have the same nervous system response. I swear to God,
Yeah.
I swear to God,
Mhm.
try and you'll see. So I have that, but then I started reading. So now I have a Kindle, so I read my book in bed. I don't
Mhm.
really need to bring the iPad. But if I
Yeah.
ever do bring my phone into bed randomly on a Friday or Saturday night, because I know I'm not having to get up early, oh my gosh, the difference I can feel in my nervous system is horrible. I'm like, get the phone away from me. It
Yeah.
suckers me in.
Mhm.
It was a biggie, and I'm just so glad I made that decision to really reduce the kind of exposure because, I am really busy and I am on my phone. I'm on TikTok responding to you guys
Yep.
24/7. So I needed to have a cutoff where I just said no. And so I don't really touch my phone from about 9:30 is usually kind of my cutoff time. Because what's really interesting as well, right? So I got an Aura ring recently and I wanted it to track my sleep. And what I noticed is I had slipped into a pattern of I wasn't sleeping so good again. And that's why I wanted to get the ring, was to try to figure out what's going on. So what was so interesting is while I felt fine, right, on the nights when I wasn't sleeping, my body was in peak stress before I went to bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't think I was stressed. I thought I was good, but no, my body was sensing stress. So I think it's really important to really just, I just don't think we can't underestimate how important it is to wind ourselves down.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Like,
I must just add, sorry, one of my
yeah,
other
go for
favorite
it.
things, because I am obsessed with that. And this is like, I need to start telling more people about this. So one of my other favorite things I did is when I looked at the lighting in my house, right? I had to think about it, right? I had soft lighting in the bedroom, soft lighting in the lounge room, but in the kitchen and the bathroom was very offensive bright light. Right. And I was like,
Offensive.
okay, so that's not, I mean, it's great for the makeup, but terrible for nervous system. So I saw someone again on TikTok posted in their bathroom, they had a shower lamp. And it is
Oh,
my new favorite thing. So
a
it's
shower lamp.
a tall little rechargeable lamp,
Yeah.
right? That I have a little remote control for, and it's waterproof.
Nice.
And so it has all pretty little lights. It's beautiful. So when I have a shower of a nighttime now, I have this soft, beautiful lighting. Oh my gosh. It
I
has
love
made it
it.
a such more enjoyable, calming experience when
Yeah, I
and
like
so when I go
that.
clean my teeth, it's a soft, beautiful lighting as well. Same as the kitchen. And it made such a difference to my nervous system. Like, these are the actionable things you can think about. So that's why I
I
tell
think,
all my clients, I'm like, have a look in your house. Have a look at, just look at it from that perspective of a nighttime.
I think offensive is the perfect word because you know when you are half asleep and you turn a light on and you're like, wow, like what?
Exactly.
It does that to our
Yeah.
insides. And look, vice versa for shift work. I think we can't leave out the shift workers because
Mm,
this is something that is out of
yes.
their control. It's
Mhm.
an environmental factor. There's always things we can change and there's things that we
Yeah.
can't. Let's focus
Yeah.
on the things we can change. For our shift workers, they do need like block out blinds. You need to be
Yes.
in darkness to have a good sleep
Yes.
during the day. And
Mhm.
for nighttime, they're, for daytime, they're nighttime opposite. Like we get them to still have that same wind down, the same breakfast, the
Mm.
same lunch, the same dinner.
Yeah.
I say to them, do this for your morning and do this
Yeah.
for your night. So whatever that looks
Yes.
like, all of this stuff is really even more important, I would say, for
Mm.
them.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. The shift work is really difficult. It really, really is. But yeah, how they set up that environment is just even more important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it always just comes back to the nervous system. And I really feel like that is really important to kind of understand as well. Like so rather than naming it as cortisol, it's what we can do for your nervous system.
And
And
what
I
can we
just
do?
want to rename that. Well, so like we
I
said, so
like it.
first of all, I think it's really important just to like look at the course of your day, right?
Mm,
Look at what you're doing in the day. What is your routine that you've got? Right. And I just think people are so like running, they run through the day that no one is kind of stopping and just resetting and taking that time to chill and be present and be
yeah.
really mindful as well. And I think we're all just stuck in this mindset of busy.
Definitely. And we thrive on it. It gives us
Yeah.
dopamine. So,
Yeah.
like, you and I actually really thrive in stress and
Mm,
busyness. And, like, our diaries are mental, right? So, because of that, it can be a little bit addictive as well, like,
yeah.
and then by the time that you realize where you're at,
Mm,
you're completely burnt out. And
yeah.
that's really what we don't want. We want to prevent you getting to burnout. It's, I love that you said it's like the kid,
Yeah.
retraining the sleep because it's the same when our kids burn out. You see it when they're like the last week before end of term. They just got nothing left in their tank. And that's, that's what we're doing as adults too. We're just go, go, go all term, all semester, all whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, when my daughter recently had her school holidays, she was looking for her hit of busyness. She just, like it wasn't there for her, and she would have she was having tantrums, which she hasn't done in years. So I think we're kind of addicted as well to
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But what I love about, like the whole mum thing and the kid thing is like, let's eat what we feed our kids. Let's give ourselves the sleep wind down, the sleep routine, the sleep hygiene that we give our kids. Like, why do we do that? Why do we not look after ourselves in the same way? We sleep train babies, but we don't do it for ourselves, right? Like,
I
it's
know.
like everything when we grow up and become
feel
adults, we think we're smarter, but we're not.
I just feel like it's just the way society has been. It's the way mums have always thought it has to be, that they
Yeah.
need to be so selfless and they give everything to everyone. But and it doesn't work that way. And I
Yeah.
just want to see more women be able to look after themselves and take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I know with the business that, you and I have, I know I've had this conversation with you before where I've said that, I want us to have longevity in what we're doing. So we have to take breaks. We need to step away. We can't be working 24/7. We need
No,
to try and have some of that balance. And,
that's not
I see it.
fair on anyone that we serve. Sorry, you go.
No, no. And I see it all the time from women. And, I think women can go through periods of hustle, and I get that. But what is not good for us is to be hustling 24/7, 365 days a year.
We can't.
You know?
We
No.
get sick.
See, that's a really good point to mention as well. Right?
We get
So
sick.
let's just talk about how when our cortisol is raised, what is the negative impact on our immune system?
Well, it's not going to work.
No.
Immune system, digestion, all of these non-essentials for life. You'll get
Yes.
over a cold or flu. Your body's not that's not a life-threatening thing. So when I always think of it like, just let me go full naturopath here on you for a sec. You have this ball of light within you, and that ball of light is finite. It's just, it is what it is, and it moves around your body, and it sends some to your thyroid, it sends some to your brain. It moves around and does what it needs to do. You've got a really bad period, it goes there to try and sort that out for you. You fall and break your leg, we're going to go and heal that. But when your nervous system needs the whole ball of light, nothing else left. We get sick. And your nervous system also, to function at that level, it needs a lot of nutrients. So no one else is getting anything because it's greedy. It's taking everything. So
Absolutely. But that's the feeling, right? The feeling is you've got nothing left. The feeling is you are on empty.
Yeah.
And I feel like women, I've conditioned to think they need to be super women. And you are, and you all are amazing super women, but that doesn't have to come at an expense of your health.
Yeah. So we've got the sleep issues, the hormonal issues, the immune system breaking down. We've got the digestive bloating issues. Let's finish by talking about anxiety. Because I think when we talk about nervous system, we talk about cortisol, we talk about adrenaline, we're not sleeping, we're run down. We're going to be a bit unwell mentally, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
What I was going to say is I think what is also really interesting to talk about from that nervous system point of view is to think about how the words of what we say has such a big impact in how we feel. Right. So there is a huge connection to what you say and how you talk to yourself and the way your body responds to that. And I just don't think this is talked about enough. Right. So huge. Right.
So
This is
you're
massive.
saying when we're like this, if we keep saying, I'm so anxious, I'm so anxious, I'm so anxious, that's going to.
And same. I have anxiety. Right. The way that you say this is how your body will respond. Right.
Well, you're telling your body, right?
Same as but also same as the negative stuff you say to yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm sick.
Right?
I'm not pretty ugh. I'm all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a good mom. Like I'm not a good person. I'm not a good, wife or partner, right?
or not good
All of that
enough.
stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Right. So
that
our
inner,
body responds.
yeah, to that inner dialogue.
Yeah. So this is really important in understanding the impact, right? So even just while you may be feeling in that moment, you might be feeling anxious. I think it's more important rather than going, oh God, my anxiety is so bad today, is to even just kind of be like, I'm feeling a bit anxious, but move on. Move on to the next thing rather than labeling it and therefore solidifying an identity behind it is really important.
What about looking at like all of everything we've talked about, right?
Mhm.
Of course, you're going to be anxious.
Yeah.
There's no one in the world who could be in that state and not be feeling like not great, could be coping under those circumstances long
Mm.
term. That's what we're saying,
Yeah.
right? So, yes, you may have that predisposition to feel anxious, but look at
Yeah.
why. Like, what if we got you back in
Yeah.
balance? What if
Mm.
we made sure that you had enough nutrients to create your neurotransmitters? And please,
Mhm.
we are not trying to in any way like lighten anxiety as a diagnosis or
Absolutely
depression or
not.
anything like
No.
that. But certainly as naturopaths, we think that that stuff is dynamic and
Mhm.
we hope and
Mm.
we try every single day to repair it.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
anxiety at its core is a breakdown of your nervous system, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And so your other kind of technique or tool or therapy is for you, like, and you
Mhm.
recommend to your patients that they change the way they talk to each other, change that inner dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's going to be helpful for going, hey, sit down, let's take some breaths and eat.
Mhm.
Like that is part of it, right? That self-regulation
Absolutely.
that we
Yeah,
teach
for
our
sure.
kids.
Totally. But also, it's the herbs that we give you. Often when we see you in clinic, we're giving you that nervous system support. We're giving you adaptogens to help your body cope with stress better. We're just trying to help your body and your nervous system. And like we said, it all comes back to how your nervous system responds.
Yeah.
Right. So
I
that's
think
where we're really trying to get away from, I think, like just the cortisol thing. It's really hard to hear that so often when we understand it's much more complex than saying it's a cortisol,
I
dysregulation.
think it's because it's something they can test. If we can
Mm,
test it, people kind of grab a hold of it because they want answers and they want to understand it and they want to know like how they can fix it. So
yeah.
if you can test your cortisol and it's high, which of course it's going to be in this picture,
Mm,
then that's something they can kind of be like, all right, I understand. I know this is on black and white on paper, but
mm,
testing
mm.
is so one part of it.
Mm.
We can't test
And
everything we're talking about.
and also they just recently showed in a study that like the fact that your cortisol is going to be tested will influence your cortisol test results.
And also,
Like
if it comes back high, that's gonna make me more stressed. I don't wanna test my cortisol.
totally.
Like
Totally. I know. So people often they talk to me about wanting to get their cortisol tested and just really it comes down to what's your nervous system saying to us? What are
yeah,
the signs that your nervous system is showing us that there's some sort of dysregulation going on there at its core?
yeah,
And that's what we can help support you with. And I just
for
think
sure.
the longer that you're in a state, the more it reinforces it to your body that that's the state that you're in. And
Yeah,
that's what we try and do to kind of untangle and support your body and get you back to that nourished, real supported, beautifully nurtured state so that your body can kind of get back to that normal regulation as it should be, as it wants to be, really.
yeah,
It doesn't want to
yeah.
be stuck in that state all the time. It
No,
truly doesn't.
no, I agree.
And I think
Think
I do think also, I was just thinking, I do think this is really important to understand that often a lot of times, and I think it's really important to know that we respect that a lot of the time this has come from, it started from trauma,
yeah,
that nervous system dysregulation. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that a lot of it, I've had so many clients that say to me, I feel like I've been stuck in fight or flight since I was a child. And that was because of the way that I was brought up. And It's really hard, and it's really tough to kind of hear, but we really acknowledge that the body, we know the body stores trauma. We
Yep.
know this, and so this is where another way that just because we know it's been like this for so long, it doesn't mean it's going to have to be like this for you forever. We
Mm-hmm.
can help you with this. And it might have been like this for a really long time, but you're not broken. We can help you and support you. And just know that naturopaths can be a really beautiful support. Like, even if you've been like this for so long, and so many of my clients are like, I've been like this for decades. It doesn't have to be like that forever.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways that we can help and support you. And I just really wanted to just kind of say that and just acknowledge that just because you've
Yeah,
been like that, like, we're still here for you.
for sure.
There's still so much that we can do to support you as well.
Yeah, we like when that happens, the ball of light gets smaller. That's what
Mm,
trauma does, that's what
yeah.
long-term dysregulation of the nervous system does. And we want to
Mm,
make your ball of light bigger. It's, I'm
yeah.
all of, me, metaphors.
Yeah, I
But
love that.
that's
I actually
awesome.
haven't heard that ball of light analogy of yours for ages. No, I've heard
Oh.
it, but a really long time ago.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
love it. It's
Cute.
beautiful. It's
Well, I
beautiful.
think that would probably wrap it up for us. And I think that's been really
Yeah.
helpful. And,
Yeah.
you guys know you can reach out. We've got all the show notes and everything. And I loved that conversation with you. Thanks for the
Me
chats.
too. I think that was a really beautiful conversation. So I'm really glad for all of you for joining us and listening in.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. If something in this episode resonated, just know there's always a way to explore it further and support your body the way it needs. You can find out more by going to the website nourishingapothecary.com or reach out if you're ready for more personalised care. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep listening to your body.